Forebrain. The forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain. A deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as the left and right cerebral hemispheres. The hemispheres are connected by a tract of nerve fibers called corpus callosum. The layer of cells which covers the cerebral hemisphere is called cerebral cortex and is thrown into prominent folds. The cerebral cortex is referred to as the grey matter due to its greyish appearance. The neuron cell bodies are concentrated there, giving the color. The cerebral cortex contains motor areas, sensory areas, and large regions that are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. These regions, called as the association areas, are responsible for complex functions like intersensory associations, memory, and communication. Fibers of the tracts are covered with the myelin sheath, which constitute the inner part of cerebral hemisphere. They give an opaque white appearance to the layer and hence is called the white matter. The cerebrum wraps around a structure called thalamus, which is major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling. Another very important part of the brain called hypothalamus lies at the base of the thalamus. The hypothalamus contains a number of centers which control body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It also contains several groups of neurosecretory cells which secrete hormones called hypothalamic hormones. The inner parts of the cerebral hemisphere and a group of associated deep structures like amygdala, hippocampus, etc. form a complex structure called the limbic lobe or limbic system. Along with the hypothalamus, it is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions, example, excitement, pleasure, rage, and fear, and motivation. Midbrain. The midbrain is located between the thalamus, hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain. A canal called the cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists mainly of four round swellings, lobes called corpora quadrigemina. Hindbrain. The hindbrain comprises pons, cerebellum, and medulla, also called the medulla oblongata. Pons consist of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the brain. Cerebellum has very convoluted surface in order to provide the additional space for many more neurons. The medulla of the brain is connected to the spinal cord. The medulla contains centers which control respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, and gastric secretions. Three major regions make up the brain stem: midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Brain stems forms the connection between the brain and spinal cord. Reflex action and reflex arc. You must have experienced a sudden withdrawal of a body part which comes in contact with objects that are extremely hot, cold, or pointed, or animals that are scary or poisonous. The entire process of response to a peripheral nervous stimulation that occurs involuntarily, that is, without conscious effort or thought, and requires the involvement of a part of the central nervous system is called a reflex action. The reflex pathway comprises at least one afferent neuron receptor and one afferent effector or excitator neuron appropriately arranged in a series. The afferent neuron receives signal from a sensory organ and transmits the impulse via a dorsal nerve route into the CNS at the level of spinal cord. The efferent neuron then carries signals from CNS to the effector. The stimulus and response thus forms a reflex arc as shown below in the knee-jerk reflex. You should carefully study figure 21.5 to understand the mechanism of a knee-jerk reflex. Sensory reception and processing. Have you ever thought, how do you feel the climatic changes in the environment? How do you see an object and its color? How do you hear a sound? The sensory organs detect all types of changes in the environment and send appropriate signals to the CNS, where all the inputs are processed and analyzed. Signals are then sent to different parts, center of brain. This is how you can sense changes in the environment. We smell things by our nose, taste by tongue, hear by ear, and see objects by eyes. The nose contains mucus coated receptors which are specialized for receiving the sense of smell and called olfactory receptors. These are made up of olfactory epithelium that consists of three kinds of cells. The neurons of the olfactory epithelium extend from the outside environment directly into a pair of broad bean-sized organs called olfactory bulb, which are extensions of the brain's limbic system. Both nose and tongue detect dissolved chemicals. The chemical senses of gustation, taste, and olfactory smell are functionally similar and interrelated. The tongue detects taste through taste buds containing gustatory receptors. With each taste of food or sip of drink, the brain integrates the differential input from the taste buds and a complex flavor is perceived. In the following sections, you will be introduced to the structure and functioning of the eye, sensory organ for vision, and the ear, sensory organ. Our pet's eyes are located in sockets of the skull called orbits. A brief account of structure and functions of the human eye is given in the following sections. Parts of an eye. The adult human eyeball is nearly a spherical structure. The wall of the eyeball is composed of three layers. The external layer is composed of a dense connective tissue and is called the sclera. The anterior portion of this layer is called the cornea. The middle layer, choroid, contains many blood vessels and looks bluish in color. The choroid layer is thin over the posterior two-thirds of the eyeball, but it becomes thick in the anterior part to form the ciliary body. The ciliary body itself continues forward to form a pigmented and opaque structure called the iris, which is the visible colored portion of the eye. The eyeball contains a transparent crystalline lens which is held in place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body. In front of the lens, the aperture surrounded by the iris is called the pupil. The diameter of the pupil is regulated by the muscle fibers of iris. The inner layer is the retina and it contains three layers of neural cells from inside to outside: ganglion cells, bipolar cells, and the photoreceptor cells. There are two types of photoreceptor cells, namely rods and cones. These cells contain the light sensitive proteins called the photopigments. The daylight phototopic vision and color visions are functions of cones, and the twilight scotopic vision is a function of the rods. The rods contain a purplish red protein called the rhodopsin or visual purple, which contains a derivative of vitamin A. In the human eye, there are three types of cones which possesses their own characteristic photopigments that respond to red, green, and blue lights. The sensations of different colors are produced by various combinations of these cones and their photopigments. When these cones are stimulated equally, a sensation of white light is produced. Optic nerves leaves the eye and the retinal blood vessels enter it at a point medial to and slightly above the posterior lobe of the eyeball. Photoreceptor cells are not present in that region and hence it is called the blind spot. At the posterior pole of the eye lateral to the blind spot, there is a yellowish pigmented spot called macula lutea with a central pit called the fovea. The fovea is a thin out portion of the retina where only the cones are densely packed. It is the point where the visual acuity resolution is the greatest. The space between the cornea and the lens is called the aqueous chamber and contains a thin watery fluid called aqueous humor. The space between the lens and the retina is called the vitreous chamber and is filled with a transparent gel called vitreous humor. Mechanism of vision. The light rays in visible wavelength focused on the retina through the cornea and lens generate potentials, impulses in rods and cones. As mentioned earlier, the photosensitive compounds photopigments in the human eyes is composed of opsin, a protein, and retinal, and aldehyde of vitamin A. Light induces dissociation of the retinal from opsin, resulting in changes in the structure of the opsin. This causes a membrane permeability changes. As a result, potential differences are generated in the photoreceptor cells. This produces a signal that generates action potential in the ganglion cells through the bipolar cells. These action potentials are transmitted by the optic nerves to the visual cortex area of the brain, where the neural impulses are analyzed and the image formed on the retina is recognized based on earlier memory and experience. The ear. The ears perform two sensory functions, hearing and maintenance of body balance. Anatomically, the ear can be divided into three major sections called the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear consists of the pinna and external auditory meatus canal. The pinna collects the vibrations in the ear which produce sound. The external auditory meatus leads inwards and extends up to the tympanic membrane, the eardrum. There are very fine hairs and wax secreting glands in the skin of the pinna and the meatus. The tympanic membrane is composed of connective tissues covered with skin outside and with mucous membrane inside. The middle ear contains three ossicles called malleus, incus, and stapes, which are attached to one another in a chain-like fashion. The malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane and the stapes is attached to the oval window of the cochlea. Their ossicles increase the efficiency of transmission of sound waves to the inner ear. An Eustachian tube connects the middle ear cavity with the pharynx. The Eustachian tube helps in equalizing the pressures on either sides of the eardrum. The fluid-filled inner ear called labyrinth consists of two parts, the bony and the membranous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth is a series of channels. Inside this channel lies the membranous labyrinth, which is surrounded by a fluid called perilymph. The membranous labyrinth is filled with a fluid called endolymph. The coiled portion of the labyrinth is called cochlea. The membranous constituting cochlea, the resoners and basilar, divide the surrounding perilymph-filled bony labyrinth into an upper scala vertebrae and a lower scala tympani. The space within cochlea, called scala media, is filled with endolymph. At the base of the cochlea, the scala vestibular ends at the oval window, while the scala tympani terminates at the round window which opens into the middle ear. The organ of Corti is a structure located on the basilar membrane which contains hair cells that act as auditory receptors. The hair cells are present in rows on the internal side of the organ of Corti. The basal end of the hair cells is in close contact with the afferent nerve fibers. A large number of processes called stereocilia are projected from the apical part of each hair cell. Above the rows of the hair cells is a thin elastic membrane called tectorial membrane. The inner ear also contains a complex system called vestibular apparatus located above the cochlea. The vestibular apparatus is composed of three semicircular canals, and the otolith macula is the sensory part of the saccule and utricule. Each semicircular canal lies in a different plane at right angles to each other. The membranous canals are suspended in the perilymph of the bony canals. The base of canal is swollen and is called ampulla, which contains a projecting ridge called crista ampullaris, which has hair cells. The saccule and utricule contain a projecting ridge called macula. The crista and macula are the specific receptors of the vestibular apparatus responsible for maintenance of balance of the body and posture. Mechanism of hearing. How does ear convert sound waves into neural impulses which are sensed and processed by the brain, enabling us to recognize a sound? The external ear receives sound waves and directs them to the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates in response to the sound waves, and these vibrations are transmitted through the ear ossicles, malleus, incus, and stapes to the oval window. The vibrations are passed through the oval window onto the fluid of the cochlea, where they generate waves in the limbs. The waves in the limbs induce a ripple in the basilar membrane. These movements of the basilar membrane bend the hair cells, pressing them against the tectorial membrane. As a result, nerve impulses are generated in the associated afferent neurons. These impulses are transmitted by the afferent fibers via auditory nerves to the auditory cortex of the brain, where the impulses are analyzed and the sound is recognized.